Furina, right over there. She really is here all on her own.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless. What was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Give up, Furina. There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry. But what can I even do other than to repeat meaning? Who's that?
Don't worry, Furina. It's just
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land. Why, I almost thought you were someone from that mob of my ignorant subjects. Come to kneel and beg for my forgiveness.
Furina, you were crying just now, weren't you?
What do you mean, tear stains? Who did that uncivilized rabble think they even dare to tout their Archon? I must teach them a lesson. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Maréchal Phantom are freaking out right next to them, too. Of course not.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Furina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some rabid fan. That's against the rules. I can't let them get...
Furina just ran off! Quick, we have to catch up with her! This should be the place, right? Hey, Furina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the rest...
What is this place?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted. Lead the way. I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm. You're right.
Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening? The ground's shaking.
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the...
It can't be. It's happening again.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's made some emergency plans, so...
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've already... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for... I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heaven... Give up. I do love the sound of that indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times. His fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. But just now, it all became clear to me. As long as the final moment hasn't come, don't worry. I will... Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the strict... Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could...
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually being honest.
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my... A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat, and if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a... If that's the case...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the dramatic stakes. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike you as even the least bit...
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered!
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a human?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Furina, what is the meaning of this?
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be...
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate... I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her... I, Furina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice! This time, I will protect you. A applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous, mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine!
Woohoo!
Oh, now we're making history!
Why does it feel like Furina just took over the whole thing? What? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is
All right, then. Who will be...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tivat, my accuser and fated opponent. Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question, just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather...
Navia, the president of...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for... The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene. So, we arranged for a second group to lie in...
So, you mean... the ones who scoured the settlement for me?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate.
That's right. That house was a magic box.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Furina. Without your help, we could never have pulled...
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent... We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt with...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champ... Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage...
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist in all of...
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, I suppose you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived on... Oh? It's fine. It matters not. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey! Oh, let Paimon see. Is it? Wait, then that means this document is a... So in other words, we can refer to this and let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Arc. I didn't think that you'd wind up. This is the first of the two. The fortress. The words of some.
Prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervylette. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant, of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to—
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Furina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon.
Charge accepted. Lady Furina, do you plead guilty? Lady Furina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Furina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything—
Yeah, even though Lady Furina can be rather
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either.
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since— See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. But if you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? You have to not only refute Furina—
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for—
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways.
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harp—
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might not— But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervylette?
Lady Furina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell human.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been— Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the For centuries, manifestations of my authority have— One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the—
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all the rest of us?
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the—
Lady Furina, I believe a reminder of your— While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before— You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges.
I never thought you'd—
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Furina. I've merely—
So, you neither knew why child was declared guilty, instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon.
The real Hydro Archon. Well, it is true that I did not know why but the Oratries handed out that verdict You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed, that the god
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be.
My power as an Archon. There are...
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared.
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive... Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy...
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power?
It seems like nobody's buying Furina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please, I'm still the same Furina you knew, right? Please.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really...
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents?
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can...
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. It has been established that all Fontainians can dissolve in...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear that... Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. Including those of... So, Miss Furina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would... But, if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has
If Lady Furina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontainian like all the rest of us.
Lady Furina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls...
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is...
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she really planning to...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Furina.
Hey! I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon! I'm nothing—
Miss Siegewin? If you're present, Miss Siegewin, please—
Siegewin?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few... That's...
Please announce the results of your evaluation.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Furina was displaying symptoms. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Furina.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved!
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, however, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve, and we don't want anyone else to lose their...
Yeah, so out of regard for Furina's life, you secured a low concentrate. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually you.
I can't believe you. Listen to me, everyone. Please don't give me such. Think about it. How can you conclusively prove that an Archon? Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just. Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your Archon.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any.
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone who's two-stepped against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Furina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Furina is guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty, to be punished via the death sentence.
The death sentence?
That's actually one of the available sentences?
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given...
Furina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice?
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine, is this sentence really appropriate for the crime?
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Furina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was... But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigned...
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has...
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean—
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates.